2010 to 2012 Ford Fusion with a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine. Here I'm going to be going through all the common problems and things to look out for before you buy a used one of these. So first I'm going to start with is the engine. This is Ford's 2.5 liter 4-cylinder. Pretty reliable, not a whole lot of problems with these. They don't usually burn any oil. One thing to look at for these engines is the valve cover gasket starts leaking after a while. It's not too hard to replace. The valve cover is plastic, so this gasket just dries up and rots over time and starts leaking. Something that's not too common, but it happens in a few of them, is they start to have a tick, and that is caused by a crack in the engine block. It can be a crack between two cylinders or somewhere else where it can either start using coolant or it can just tick. It's not too common. You can still drive it around for quite some time with that tick and it doesn't really cause any major damage. What isn't too good, however, is the transmission. After a while, it'll just start slipping. It's not super common, but every once in a while you'll see one of these with a bad transmission. This is the first model year in a Fusion that Ford put a electronic power steering rack in it rather than a hydraulic one. And it usually happens at higher mileage that the rack will just fail. And it pops up a light on the dash to service the advanced track and your power steering just won't work. Now going on to the rear of the car, since these cars have such good brakes, it is fairly common for these to get wrecked in the rear. So if you're buying one of these, you might want to check panel gaps and just see if everything matches up, or see if it's been repainted, if it's ever been wrecked in the rear before. If you've seen previous videos on my channel, this one has been wrecked in the rear. I bought it like that and then swapped the trunk and the bumper out. Now these taillights, because of the shape that they are, if you're not careful loading stuff into your trunk, you can chip them. So that is something that occasionally happens. They're not too expensive. They're about $40 used. Now something that these cars are absolutely plagued with is the swelling lug nuts. Ford for a time had a two-piece lug nut design where there was this sheet metal over a regular lug nut, and if you don't change them out, so they will begin to crack and swell up and you can't fit the regular size socket on it. So they will eventually look like this if you try to take them off. So if you get one of these cars, or if you have one of these cars, you should replace the lug nuts on these immediately. Now things on the interior that will go bad. Once in a while the ACs will go out on these. I'm not exactly sure what the problem is or how to fix it, but that's just something to look out for. Check the AC. It's a common problem in Fords in general. Also, I had to replace the sunroof on mine, and it wouldn't go down. It would just get stuck when you try to pull it down. But I had to replace the whole track. I'm not sure how common that is, though. Also, these center air vents over here, I've already replaced these. They were broken when I got it. The inner flaps over there and these outer ones, they will just, the mechanism in there will break and you won't be able to adjust them anymore. Another thing that kind of occasionally breaks on these is this dash box right here. It's kind of flimsy plastic, and if you stick something that's too big for it in there and you try to close it, you'll just break these hinges right here because it's all plastic, and these are also very expensive. They're probably around $70 to $90 used. So yeah, that's really about it with these cars. Not a whole lot of issues. They are very reliable. I have seen some of these cars over 300,000 miles. Don't let the transmission really scare you away from these. Just something to watch out when you're test driving. Just make sure that the transmission isn't slipping. The 2010 through 2012s are the best years. I've seen the 06 to 09s. They have engines going out. I'm not exactly sure what the problem is. I've never had one of those, but these engines seem to be more reliable. And the 2013 up to 2019, those have all sorts of issues and you really don't want those. So yeah, these are the best model years to get. So I hope you like this video. If there's any issues that I missed, please leave it in the comment section below, and I will see you all in the next video.